Okay. Alright, so I think we're good. This is, this is Wild Guns Reloaded, and, it's the only run that I currently do, but my name is Arc the Ladder, and, get ready for a spectacle of damage, and maybe accidental jumps. But, I think, are we ready? Are we good to go?
Yes, we are.
Alright, so I'm gonna count down from 3, starting now. 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, so this is Wild Guns Reloaded. It is a remake of the Super Nintendo title Wild Guns, and I am running the category of Doris on hard. And normally Doris is a character that's supposed to be big damage and slow, and using the magic of cancels, she becomes best character fast. She is, as far as the time component of the game goes, what you can do is that you'll see me throwing grenades rapidly. What really opened up this game was that I used to run it throwing grenades one at a time like this. But I saw a task video where the Doris player was going nuts. And that just kind of opened things up. So the run is similar to the Super Nintendo version, but you trade out a lot of glitches. Like, the game's a little more stable, so as far as tech goes, it's a little stale, like, in comparison to making, like, heavy glitches go, like maybe the Vulcan save. But, as far as, I guess, manual dexterity, that's where the game shines. It's also where it, doesn't shine. Because if I make a mistake, then you're going to see Doris jump and then slam the ground, which I call the slam of shame. And that's the other thing, the turnover rate for my controllers since I played this game has been extremely high. Because the little rubber membrane in the Super Nintendo controllers, they deteriorate really fast. So running this game has been both a journey and a curse on my wallet. So I don't run it very often. But here we are in Carson City, and honestly, it's even difficult to really commentate things, because as soon as something appears on screen, you're going to notice that Doris is going to kill it extremely fast. So here we are at our first boss, the bounty hunter. He's called Yojimbo. And now he's dead. So the first stage is, there's nothing really cool to write home about. You just have to charge and then hope you don't mess up. But a lot of it will be not picking up power-ups, so that the screen countdown is a little better on the score screen. Oh man, now I get to do something cool. So I can also go through stuff with her lasso. So there's cool stuff I can do, but don't blink. Like, that's all I can say. But as far as this run goes, if you can figure out a method that doesn't destroy your controller or uses a different device, I think it's really fun. Like, this is a criminally underplayed category. But there we go. So now things are going to open up. So we're going to go to the underground section. And this is where the first major glitch of the game comes in. So there are enemies where they're considered invulnerable, except bombs can pierce their defense. And what happens here is there's a pair of serpent enemies in the second half of the stage, or the second screen. And what happens is that there's some weird sort of, I don't know if it's actual overflow, but what happens is that if you bomb, if you look at the timer, it's going to take a massive chunk out, because the little sprites that don't normally count as enemies, all of a sudden count as enemies. So it allows us to clear the second screen here extremely quickly. But the thing is that, prior to that, just a little uneventful. So you have a stage that's sort of, this is one of the new stages. I talked about it being a remake of sorts. And here is one of the new stages that they added. There's a lot of little cool things to this, where Tango Project, which is I think a 4 or 5 person group, they took the time to just sort of try to replicate the hardware that this game ran on. So Hiroyuki Iwatsuki is the composer, so this is a new track. And he somehow found his old computer or sound fonts, and he composed this from scratch. But anyway, so what we're gonna have here is another sort of weird section where enemies are gonna try to appear, and I have to basically keep my ear open for an explosion where they die. I think I did it. There we go. So, there's a kind of hard to comment, but here it's just trusting my ears to tell me that the enemy is dead. That's dead, and then this is the last enemy on screen. Alright, so this is that glitch I was talking about. So this serpent comes up, and I have to not accidentally kill him. So we just stall for time. And bomb. And so the timer went from, it can go anywhere from down to 70 to 30. In that case, it went to 44. If you're really, really lucky with the timer, you'll go to 0. And I was very, very, really, really lucky. So there we go. Then our recurring pal, the bounty hunter, who, if I were to let him actually animate, you would see him hold up a ledger for your head. He likes to taunt you, but in Doris's case, she just doesn't see that interaction as meaningful. So here we go with the Minotaur, and its gimmick is that its vulnerable spot is its heart. Except now it's dead, but I need to destroy its armor. If you destroy its helmet, it can't shoot lightning at you. There's a lot of stuff that I'm sure was there. Now it's not there. This is a very fast, very swift run. So now we're going to go to the gold mine. The gold mine is original to the Super Nintendo game, so it does have some rework though. You'll notice that a lot of screens, if you're familiar with Wild Guns, they're zoomed out. So there's a lot more detail. The screen doesn't have to scroll the way it usually does to accommodate sprites. So the wonders of high definition graphics are with us. But fortunately, I died there, but deaths shouldn't really count too badly for me. I was trying to use the invincibility of the dynamite there, but kind of died. But that's okay. Because I think that a lot of my deaths don't actually harm the timer. Because if you're wondering how I'm going fast, I neglected to mention that the faster you kill an enemy, the faster the timer goes. Every enemy, because this is a score-based gallery shooter, every dead enemy runs the timer down by a second. So the faster you kill things, the faster the game timer runs. And it's designed to penalize you for just shooting things without charging, but since we're doing a speedrun, it's not much of a penalty. So we're actually still on pace. The major hazards for speed in this game are actually score drops. So here, I want to sort of position it in a way where I pick up as few as possible. But getting that sweet spot's a little difficult because Doris has such a huge blast radius, but I think I found it. There we go. So here, the minecart stage is usually big on score, but because we can ignore a lot of things, just kind of decimate anything that shows up. So again, a lot of the commentary that I used to be able to do has become less and less possible the better I got at the game. So we have a sub-boss. We had a sub-boss. And then up next is probably one of the more technical fights. We have to stun loop this crab. And hopefully I could still do it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, lasso. 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 So I went for safety there because I've been getting the hop of shame a little more than I would have liked. Normally you can do, you can two-cycle it with your grenades, but I don't really trust my controller not to fail on me. There's a huge indentation where the Y button should be. But that's probably one of the only major run killers in the game. And Doris has a lot of control over the game that other characters don't. Because she doesn't use weapon pickups like the others do, it's really, that's what makes this run so fun. A lot of it is really just in your hands. Like, it's in direct control of you. RNG is not a huge factor, save for a few places. And usually, you can still get a good run going, even as the timer is going. But here we are. This is the second additional stage that wasn't in the Super Nintendo version. It is the airship. Some folks have a problem with the overtly sci-fi nature of it. I'll leave that to your discretion. But it's going to be a little more futuristic looking than the sort of Western punk setting that the game usually has. But pretty fun. And it's one of the levels where Doris can just kind of go weapons free. So we're going to get a little volley here that we build meter off of. If I absorb these little rainbow colored bullets, then it builds a green meter, the Vulcan gauge on the bottom of the screen. And we are going to use that strategically throughout the run. And by strategically, I think there's like this boss coming up that will use it. But so the few enemy types where I have to do something very technical that you're only going to see in a flash, which is that the blimp has 3 potential seconds you can save if you kill it properly. And those seconds come from, and we're going to see it again here, there's 2 enemies riding it and then the blimp itself. So 2 seconds, and then a second for the blimp itself. Normally I want to avoid the pickup, but just for demonstration purposes. And then from there, we're just keeping our eye out for power-ups. Other than that, I'm just gonna destroy stuff very quickly. Again, this run is very swift. A lot of it, I think all of this category was done by me, but it's so committed to memory right now. Alright, we'll kill this. Just waiting. Should be 6 seconds left, so there's that. So this is the sub-boss. What's noteworthy here is that it has a huge vulnerable spot. And Doris gets to kill it even faster than she normally kills things. The surface area of bosses in this game, of certain types of bosses, this applies to weapons like the shotgun. It can make bosses even more frail. Here we're going to purposely hit the shield. The gimmick of this boss is it follows you. The cockpit will center itself on your character, so you have to manipulate it. Unfortunately, that didn't go very well for that boss. But we use the center shields to build Vulcan, the V-gun, and then we just annihilate it. It's just sort of what you do. So we're down to one more stage, which is the train. The train is kind of an auto-scroller, in my opinion, as far as feel. It's not an actual, like, it scrolls, but it's very scripted. Compared to some of the other stages, because there's a very tightly set amount of enemies. So there's a little more standing around than usual. But our major goal in this stage is to build about half a bar of Vulcan, which may or may not come into play depending on how the final boss is feeling. The reason being is that if he doesn't shoot at us, then it doesn't matter. But we're going to try to have it ready. If I go over half of a bar, I tend to absorb too many bullets, and then we pop Vulcan, and then I have to do this strategy of manually killing the final boss, which looks fun, but it's a little hard on my hands, and it's not as fast. So we're going to try to make this work. But where we're going to build that meter is here. There's going to be a turret. So we want to pop off its, it has 2 health phases. One is where it's still armored, the other where it looks kind of broken. And then from there, I wait for it to shoot with my lasso, which absorbs bullets and has some form of invincibility. And then we just kind of absorb the shot, like that. So when I said there was some form of invincibility, I would have otherwise died there. we go. So I think I have enough meter, so we're just gonna kill it. So it's a little hectic. I think if you're starting to run this game, if this seems like it's enticing, one of the more difficult things to do is monitor everything that's happening on screen. You have to have very good peripheral vision and awareness. And that's usually where I end up getting killed, such as when I was on the minecart stage. A bad run for me is usually losing track of all the things that are happening on screen. And I'm usually trying to keep account of the timer, my gauge, and maybe targets of opportunity. There's not a lot of freestyling in this game, but it does happen. And usually that's when there's multiple targets on screen, and you have to make a decision on which one you want to kill first. But note how I said there'd be a lot of standing around. This is such a thing that I was talking about. So now we have the actual train itself. All we do is that there's a stomp of shame, but just attack it rapidly. And then we have Jet Boy. Jet Boy is this guy's name. Ooh, he shot first. I got lucky. He's flying around a bit, but I killed him. So I got a bit unlucky. Normally when he shoots at you, he flies to the upper right. He stayed in the center there, and I'm honestly not used to that. But Jet Boy is dead. He didn't bone me too badly as far as his pattern goes. But this is the final stage. There's gonna be 2 robots here, and I just have to make sure that I kill one fastly so I can keep them under control. Because the problem is that they tend to fire this spread. So that was a little bad as far as getting the lasso off, but they didn't shoot the ground underneath me, and that's the worst thing that can happen on that screen, which is that Doris can't really do anything about that dodge. On this stage, I can finally pick up bonus points, but I have to be careful about absorbing those shots from these enemies. It does matter that you kill them, but for our purposes, I want to make sure that I don't get too many bullets absorbed, because again, we want to have all of that gauge available in case Kid feels like shooting at us. Kid is the final boss. There is a whole plot to this game, but delivering it will be a little troublesome at this point. Let's just say that the character that I'm using owes one of the other characters a favor. I'm not making that up. In the plot, that is why she is in the story now, and that character is Clint. So she's actually part of the official military, but here's Yojimbo. We're going to do something different here, and that is that I'm going to bomb him, but he has more HP than usual. So I'm going to throw a bomb here, lasso him again, and he dies, and that also triggers a point glitch. So he counted twice. So when I said overflow, again, I don't know if that's actually what's happening, but you can see that it does even count against another type of enemy. If I knew anything about the programming of the game, I could probably answer what was going on, but I can't. Punch that. Punch that. But I'm playing it kind of safe here. There we go. So there's going to be, let's say, 4 turrets on each side are going to sort of come in the middle. We're just going to throw a bomb. We don't want to deal with that right now. I guess it was 5. So we're making good time. So this is going to be another one of these knife guys. By melee, I'm bullet invincible. And then we just have to kill this thing. I used to think that I would build the meter off that. This turret, if it fires, it can ruin everything, but then I just learned you can just kill it. Like, you don't even have to think about what it's doing. So, this is Kid. I'm gonna prep him a little bit. I think he might mortar here. Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about. Sometimes your melee doesn't really come into play, or rather, getting the boss to shoot at you for the V-gun. Like, it just doesn't always factor in. And I did get unlucky there, so I may actually have to kill him manually. If he doesn't die here. He died there. So slightly above a 19-minute finish. I usually could win. I think those deaths cost me about 20 seconds. A good run is about 1840, 1830. But it's a very fast run. I would feel a little more confident if there wasn't a huge indentation in my Y button. Again, I run this on a Super Nintendo controller. But that's Wild Guns Reloaded, Doors Hard Mode.
Amazingly good. Like, I am always mesmerized by that run. And I was going to cut in sooner, but you did an ace job on commentary too, so I was just sitting here listening.
Yeah. So I'm gonna let the credits roll so my thumb can rest, because that's the other thing with this game. It is extremely difficult on your hand. I wish it was I wish it was a little easier to do that technique, but it's just it's a run that I have a sort of tumultuous relationship with. But if someone's willing to pick it up, then I'd love to see what's possible on a more consistent controller. Because I'm sure it's possible on like a keyboard, like maybe an arcade stick, something like that. But the way I'm doing it is kind of funny, because the technique is akin to like fanning the hammer on a revolver. Like I'm just slapping my thumb down on the Y and B button, and it makes doors go vroom. So it's fun to like. I think it's a really consistent, short, and stable run, which is really, I think that's kind of the gold mine of a speed run. The stuff to optimize would just be like not dying and not picking up not power-ups, but score pickups, so that you can get a little better turnover on the high score screen. But yeah.
It's I think the one thing that always amazes me about this run is it doesn't feel as long as it is. Like, it's paced really well, I think, as a viewer specifically too. Like, it just flies by. I've always really enjoyed that. And Zedlar is asking, what about a DDR mat?
Yes, a DDR mat. You know, I think, believe it or not, the only thing you would have to work on is moving the cursor. I think, shockingly, you'd probably have a killer leg workout.
No, dude,
not
no.
The realm of possibility.
No, you would look like Doris in real life with those thighs.
You would. Yeah. Like there's stuff I could say about the presentation that I've always wanted to slip in there, but you know, we got the group shot, everyone's happy. Annie has decided that a cocktail dress is the best way to chill out with her friends. There is an explanation behind that, but it's kind of raunchy because of the way that they changed the story. It's implied that Annie and Clint like fell in love over the course of the game. And here it's implied that everyone was tired and wanted to go home after the game was over. So yet another realistic improvement.
Amen.
But we do have a boss rush coming up, so we're going to get to see some... Actually, there was one thing that I'm glad that happened in this run, and that was me getting to lasso through the first boss's turret fire. Like, Doris, you can really make her look extremely unfair. And I really wanted that to happen. So it's normally bad luck, but I'm really glad I got to show off how cool the lasso is in this game.
I just, yeah, I know, it's amazing. I do like this run a lot. Like, I'm a really big fan and proponent of it. And in general, I guess whenever you want to take us through the boss rush to me, like I said it in chat, I honestly think this is one of the coolest things that I've just ever seen, period, in speedrunning. Like, I'll duck into the shadows again and let you do your thing, but like, it is legitimately, I think, one of the best things. So I was very happy to see that it was submitted, and I was like, absolutely yes, like I want this in here. So I hope people enjoy it as much as I do, just because it flies by so quickly and it's just crazy.
Yes. All right. Well, let me get started then, because this is gonna, again, don't blink. Hopefully I say that. Hopefully I'm not the one that pays for that. But this is the boss rush. It is a mode that is unique to the Switch version. While you can get this game on the PlayStation 4, I want to assume Xbox One and PC, the major addition that makes the Switch version definitive is this mode. So you have an easy mode or whatnot, that's for like casual players if they want to play by themselves and get through the game without dying. And then you have a timed boss rush mode with its own leaderboards. it uses its own timer, and basically you have to kill every single boss in the game and a timer is running. And if you use Doris, you could probably guess how well that's going to go for everything. So let's get started. It has its own timer, so I don't think a timer is necessary, but I'll count down from 3 starting now. 3, 2, 1, go. But you'll see a timer at the bottom.
Yeah, I'll just let the in-game time do it. But anyway, go.
Yeah. So the major change is that instead of using the hard mode boss HP values... Ooh, nice, I got lucky. So that's 3 seconds. I've killed this thing at like 2.6, but it'll use... The reason that's possible is that it's using... It'll scale in difficulty from, I want to say, easy, normal to hard. I think Kid like kind of tops off as a kind of a sponge, but not too bad. We are Doris. But here, this is a boss from Desolation Canyon. I did miss the lasso, so I'm going to safety bomb, and that'll keep us safe from the mortars. And we're still on pace. It's like a 10:05. I have the choice of when I want to bomb. The Crystal Eye, sometimes I try to use the overflow glitch when it's transitioning, but from forms, but it's not really necessary. So Crystal Eye is the ammunition depot boss. I could hurt it here in this phase if I wanted to, but I'm just gonna kill it normally. You save about a second, so usually 23, 24 seconds, but we come in at about 25, 16. Next is the run killer, the crab, and I think I'm just gonna, again, just try to take it safe. I'll count aloud the timing involved. So its face appears. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, well, no need to be safe. So if you're really good, if your timing is tight, you'll hit it just as it's about to spit another lasso at you, and then you just go weapons free on it. So this is Jetpack Boy. Oh, see, this is the pattern I'm used to. He's gonna sway from right to left, and then die. Look at that, 42-20. So those are all the original Super Nintendo bosses. We're gonna round it out with the remake bosses. So not much is gonna change. We've already seen these guys. We want to take out the helmet, and then we want to take out the heart. Hand's a little tired, admittedly, but here, a lot of the technique for Doris is going to come on display because you want to do a lot of micro-tapping left or right. Otherwise, she'll randomly fly in a direction. The hard part of this run is coming up. I need to build a whole stock of gauge off the center boss here. So here... And I knew that might have happened because my controller's kind of messed up. But we're going to do it anyway. My apologies, but not much I can do about that. There we go. So we're powered up. That cockpit dies. I'm still on target, but I can feel my Y button sinking into the recess of my controller, which tells me the membrane is about finished. So if you're wondering what those 2 deaths are about, I can feel my controller dying. I can sense its impending death. But Kid's gonna shoot at us. We'll build a little meter. Slam of shame. So we do have 2 bombs, so I'll use that to just sort of deal with Kid's nonsense. Slam of shame. So he's flashing. He's almost dead. Had to keep an eye out for getting shot. But 145. Sub 2 that's a run I'm happy with. Even with those deaths, sub 2 is not a... It's not a bad time. My fastest time for this is a minute 27. Is that the timer? Completely intentional manips. Yes. But again, a lot of what's possible on this is if my controller isn't. I'm looking at my Y button in horror. Like it actually looks like I'm pressing it right now. So it does change my timing a bit, but that's a really fun run, and you can really route that and map it well. There's still time to save, but it's it's fun because of Doris, but the other characters, they have a lot to offer as well, since there's not as much RNG. Woo. Thank you all. But that's Wild Guns Reloaded. I will skip the credits just to show off the not for bragging sake, but there is a leaderboard, so if you wanted to if you were wondering like where this routes onto, Natsume was kind enough with this mode. This is more to show like how forward thinking I think they were. So I'll skip everything else. Like they did have individual time, so 127, and you can see that they really thought out that mode, and that's why I like it so much. And I am Flawed Red, and I still have all the #1 times.
There you
go. But
I was gonna say flex, man. Like you are that guy.
I am that guy. But I was actually glad that they put that mode in. Like it is so fun. Like it's really good.
It is. Like I enjoy this one immensely. So.
But yeah, that is Wild Guns Reloaded. That is my thumb joint. That is my dead Super Nintendo controller. But it was fun. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it very, very, very much.
Thank you for having me, and I hope the rest of the event goes well.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that too.